Hi there, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a foundation and makeup routine for dry skin, eczema prone skin, or just any type of sensitive skin type in general. I wanted to share some of my favorite prep steps as well as some of my favorite makeup products for days when my skin is a little bit more finicky. I've got some eczema patches or dry skin, just the best of the best and the routine that I typically will always do. So let's get into it. I'm also going to be using all drugstore makeup in this tutorial as well, just so everything's a little bit more easily accessible and people will have a easier time finding most of these products. I'm going to start off with prepping my skin first, and this video is sponsored by Sequel, so I want to share with you some of my favorite products from them. This is an eczema relief skincare line that I've been using regularly, and I'm really impressed because, as many of you know, I do have facial eczema, and they have some body products as well. So they have a 0.1% CBD body oil, which is really nice if you have eczema on the body. I'll typically use this all over my entire body. It's really nice, quickly absorbed, doesn't leave you feeling greasy. And then the Moisture Locking Balm, which is so nice if you get eczema patches on the inside of your elbows or behind your knees like I do. But my two favorites that I've been using regularly day and night, which have made such a big difference in just overall reducing the agitation in my skin, is the Eczema Relief Cream. So I'm going to be using this as my facial moisturizer today. I absolutely love this. It's so nice and rich, but not too heavy. It doesn't affect your makeup application at all, but it really provides your skin with that lasting moisturization that you want in the day or at night. But it's so nice to protect your skin before you go in with makeup so that the makeup doesn't sting your eczema. If you do have facial eczema, then you know it almost is like an open wound on your face. The skin is really raw and it stings and it's agitated, and when you put makeup on top of it, it oftentimes makes it worse. So I really like using that as just my all-over moisturizer. And then the spot treatment, which has been a game changer for me because this is a steroid alternative, but it really helps soothe those, again, just like open eczema flare-ups that really are painful and they hurt. So I just take a really tiny bead of this and I pop it on all my hot spots, which for me is right under the eyes, around my mouth, and then the corners of my nose. And this almost performs as a second barrier on your skin. So where you have that eczema flare up, it just puts a nice protective layer over top of it so that when you go in with your makeup, you don't feel it quite as much. And I've been using it regularly, and I feel like you can really see my under eyes are not nearly as inflamed and red as they typically are. I can still feel a little bit of sensitivity, but it has significantly improved the agitation and the stinging that I feel in those areas, especially around the mouth and the nose as well. That's where my skin will really like break open and I get those little painful cracks in the eczema. So I like this before my makeup so that my makeup doesn't go on any of those sensitive areas. I'm gonna let these products absorb for about 3 to 4 minutes, and then we'll move in with makeup application. My favorite foundation when I have eczema, drugstore or high-end, just all time, is the Flower Beauty Light Illusion. It's very rich and creamy, and it's super moisturizing as well. I will say this does get progressively more dewy throughout the day, so if you do have an oilier skin type and you have eczema, I probably wouldn't recommend this because it could get a little bit oilier on you. So I would say go with something with a satin finish. This one's the Maybelline Dream Radiant. It's really nice. It still gives a lot of radiance to your skin, but it's gonna be a little bit better for an oilier skin type. I'm gonna use the Flower Beauty one today, and the reason that I love this so much when I have an eczema flare-up is because the finish of the foundation actually helps camouflage any type of dry spots I have on my skin. So I'll just apply it like that. Another thing is I feel like you really don't want to cake your skin up with too much product, because I do find if I'm a little bit more heavy-handed than I typically am with my eczema, you can see the patch a lot more. The product just doesn't look as good when you put it on top of a bunch of dry skin or open skin. So I try to get just a really nice light veil of even coverage. I'm using a Sephora 96 brush, and I want a little bit more coverage in the center of my face to help hide some of that redness around my nose, and then just lightly on my eyelids too. And as you can see, I just really like how it it's dewy, but it's not too dewy. It looks more like moisturized skin once the foundation is really set down. Now, for the under eyes, the concealer is the tricky part because I do notice if I really cake on a full coverage under eye, that's when you'll see the texture in my skin under my eyes. So I'm gonna use the L'Oreal Lumi Concealer, just working it into the brush on the back of my hand. And I'm gonna first apply this as a light veil under my eyes just to help brighten them. But because this is really lightweight and fluid, it's not gonna be tacky or heavy, and it's not going to settle into any of the lines around my eyes. So I'm just gonna push it in with my fingertips, and I'll softly blend out the rest with my brush so that there's no lines between concealer and foundation, but I like how it just gives me that instant brightness that I really want. And then just to conceal a little bit of the darkness under my eyes, just to put a little bit more coverage there, I'm using my Maybelline Superstay Concealer, and just gonna do a light dot right under that darkest area, as well as around the corners of my nose. This will stay put, and it is matte, so you don't need to go overboard with it, especially like it can sometimes emphasize dry skin, but if you take it easy on this concealer, it's not gonna be that noticeable. And then I also like to do the liquid highlight just a tiny bit. And then I'm just gonna lightly start blending this concealer out. I'm using a Fenty eyeshadow brush. I actually really like this one for concealer. I feel like it gives me a little bit more of an airbrushed look, and it's super nice and soft. I'll pull that concealer right here as well on the inner part of the eye just to help hide any darkness right there. The eczema around my nose is there all the time. I just constantly have inflammation around the corners of my nose. It's always a little bit red. You might not be able to see it quite as much on camera, but around the corners of my nose is constantly flared up no matter what. The corners of my nose, there's never not been an eczema flare up there. So it's more so just kind of keeping that skin comforted so that it's not as red and open. But sometimes in the winter, this is where I'll get really bad cracks. Now, setting your face with eczema, that's another tricky thing because a lot of powders emphasize dryness and texture on your skin, especially eczema patches. They'll just pick up some parts of the powder and then some parts won't pick up powder, and it can make it a little bit more apparent. But the one that I've had the best luck with is the e.l.f. Hello Halo setting powder. It's got a little bit of luminosity to it, so not only does it not completely mattify your skin, it helps diffuse light and helps your skin reflect a little bit more light so that the eczema patches don't look sunken in or crusty. So I'm just picking up a little bit on my brush, and I just lightly want to tap this under my eyes. And you'll see that it will slightly mattify my skin. And back here, I'm getting a little bit of lifting, but that's kind of inevitable. You can see it. There's like a little bit of a light patch. That's an eczema patch that healed up, but that skin is still fresh because it was open and raw. So it's like still, I don't know, baby skin right there. It's just been, you know, completely peeled away from the eczema flare up. So I'm just being a little bit more careful and trying to push it in. But if I were to use a powder that was completely matte, this would be way more apparent. I'm gonna bronze up my skin just a bit. I'm using the Ulta Beauty Natural Glow bronzing powder on my Laura Mercier finishing brush. And I really like this because it just buffs powders into my skin, almost like they're creams, but I just get a really nice seamless blend every time I use this. I also feel like I have to use less product when I use this brush. I can make a little bit of bronzer go a really long way over my entire face. And again, you can still see that raw patch previously. It's just ever so slightly a little bit lighter on these parts of my face. That's where I had the most recent eczema flare up. And for the most part, that's inevitable, but I'm just trying to disguise it and make it look a little bit less apparent. For blush, I love something a little bit more luminous, so I'm gonna use the Almay Healthy Hue blush. And I really like how this just will get my skin reflecting a little bit more light. It's a beautiful nude shade, so it's not distracting. And I'm just gonna lightly pop this right on the inner part of my cheek. And even though this has a luminous finish, it's not gonna make you look oily because it is a powder. And I just really like how this livens up my skin tone because it's got a little bit of that light reflection. So it helps combat the dullness from the eczema and the dry skin. And then to highlight, I'm gonna use my e.l.f. highlighting palette. This is the Glow Gleam Beam Highlighting Palette, and I'm gonna mix all these shades together. I just like run my brush into each of them a bit, except this one. I don't use that one on my face. And then I'm just going to lightly highlight the high points of my face. I do find that highlighting an eczema patch can go one of two ways. It can either make it more emphasized. So on days where the patch is fresh, I don't wear any highlighter. But on days like this where the skin is just healed and I can almost camouflage the bare patch with the highlight, I like to still put a little bit of highlight on. And then I'll take like a clean blendy brush and really soften out the highlight. Just push it in place as you're blending. If you do have an eczema patch but it's pretty much fully healed, then I would recommend a cream. I really like this one from Almay, the cream stick. It's so nice, super, super pigmented, and you can apply it with your fingertips and just dot it on, or you can take it straight out of the stick and stripe it on your skin. I'm not gonna pile on too much highlight today, but I'll show you. It's just a really, really pretty one. This is the nude one in Nude Glow. They also have a pink one if you're more into a pink highlight. So I'm gonna quickly line my lips. I'm gonna use this one from NYX. It's Nude Truffle. I'm gonna quickly put some color in my eyebrows. This isn't drugstore, but I can't resist using this because it's so fast. You can do my eyebrows in seconds. It's the Tinted Brow Gel from Benefit. I'm obsessed. Like, brows are done. You can't beat it. But I am gonna set them down with the Revolution Soap Brows. Just put a little bit of setting spray in there and then pick it up on the spoolie. And then just running that gel through my eyebrows. Get them fluffed up. And then I'm gonna throw on some mascara. I'm using the Superstar X Fiber Primer. This one's from L'Oreal. I love that this eyeshadow primer is black. So you don't have the risk of, you know, making your eyelashes have little spots where the primer's white and showing. And then the Maybelline Falsies Lash Lift. Just really gonna roll that through my lashes. I love this combo together. You get a lot of length and volume and wispiness. And it gives you that, like, you know, thick false lash effect. And I'll run it on my lower lashes too. And then for lip color, I'm gonna use my classic, oh geez, I tried to take the mascara off my eyelid and I think I just made all my eyelashes clump together by rubbing. Okay, anyway, I'm gonna use my favorite. This is Brazilian Tan from Revlon. Oh, my favorite nude lipstick ever, of life, of all brands, drugstore, high-end. It's my favorite nude. I can't. Every time I use it, I'm like, why do I ever wear anything else? This is like such a flattering nude. And this is my finished base routine. I don't feel like my skin is tight. It doesn't feel agitated or dry. And I really like how I still was able to, you know, get some radiance from my skin, whereas typically if I don't use all these prep steps, my skin definitely looks significantly more dull, dry. You can see the dryness on my skin. So the prep and the makeup products that you use when you have a drier skin type or an eczema flare-up, there's a fuzz in my eye, they definitely make the world of a difference in terms of the result of your makeup. So I hope that this video was super helpful. If you do have any questions, please hit me up in the comments. I will always do my best to help you out, especially when it comes to eczema, just because you know me, I've got eczema on my face and I also like to wear makeup. So I know a lot of things that work for me and hopefully they can help you out as well. If you do have any questions regarding any of the products or application tips, again, you can ask me in the comments down below, but otherwise I will list and link everything in the description box down below for you. And I would love it so much if you would subscribe to my channel, and if you'd come follow me on Instagram, that would be amazing as well. But other than that, let me know if there are any other eczema related videos that you'd like to see on my channel. and I'll see you in my next one. Thank you so much for watching this one. Bye everyone.